Hello everyone and welcome back to Chart Forecast. My name is Zero and thank you for tuning in. Before we begin, I would like to thank you all for the returns on last week's episode. It really means a lot that you guys reacted well to this format, and I will try to implement your suggestions in the future. Hopefully you keep enjoying it. This week we will be analyzing and discussing the predictions for the Hot 100 dated February 4th, 2023. Although this may seem like a quieter week, a lot has actually been happening, especially with our debuts, so make sure you stick around to see what is planned to make the chart. Please do keep in mind that these predictions are unofficial and are not 100% accurate. That would simply be impossible. However, it gives a very good idea of what you might expect on the upcoming Hot 100. Without any further ado, let's go into our top 10, where not much has really changed from last week, with Flowers by Miley Cyrus remaining, like predicted, as number 1. The very interesting thing about this song though is that it actually gained on its second week in all channels, which just cements its status as a bona fide and probably long-lasting hit. As said, not much has changed from last week, which means Kill Bill by SZA is still number 2 with very much the same aspects as last week, but with a bonus acoustic version added this time. At number 3, Anti-Hero by Taylor Swift with many of the same attributes as last week. Stable streaming, good sales, and leading on airplay, but all of which by now have peaked. At number 4, Creepin' by Metro Boomin, 21 Savage and The Weeknd is once again the biggest airplay gainer on the whole chart this week, which still means it has a lot of room to grow and has kept its good streaming so far. At number 5, Unholy by Sam Smith and Kim Petras is the biggest sales gainer on this week's Hot 100, although the boost is very minimal, and even though there will be an album boost next week, I do not think it's gonna save the song for much longer. At number 6, I'm Good Blue by David Guetta and BB Rexa is even closer to number 1 on overall radio this week, narrowly missing by 300,000 audience, but still doesn't have great streaming to boot. Same case for Die For You by The Weeknd at number 7, although this one seems to be making bigger waves at the top of radio, so it'll be interesting to see if that goes number 1. Which cannot be said about Rich Flex by Drake and 21 Savage, losing points once again. Even though it still has good streaming and the radio is still growing, it is just not enough to grow. At number 9 and gaining 1 spot as it was by Harry Styles, once again residual streams and airplay, but moving into the top 10 for the very first time and becoming this artist's very first song to do so, Golden Hour by Jake. This may surprise a lot of you guys, but it actually has a really good balance between streams and radio, and both have just been either stable or growing, so it makes sense why it's moving into the top 10. Moving on to our losers and dropouts, where we actually lost 2 pretty big hits this week, with first of all Vegas by Doja Cat leaving, and Romantic Homicide by David, which just never took off on radio, even alternative. Apart from that in dropouts, we have Monotonia by Shakira and Ozuna, which we missed last week in our returns, Hey by Lil Baby, Pick Me Up by Gabby Barrett, Down Home by Jimmy Allen, and Out in the Middle by the Zac Brown Band. We also see debuts from last week departing, with On What You Want by Moneybagg Yo and Glorilla, Vibe by Taeyang and Jimin, and King Snipe by Gucci Mane featuring Kodak Black. Continuing, SZA's album bomb continues to naturally fade, with Used featuring Don Toliver and Special leaving the chart this week. She also sees losses for Seek and Destroy down 5 spots to number 86, Ghost in the Machine featuring Phoebe Bridgers down 9 spots to number 93, and Open Arms featuring Travis Scott down 7 spots to number 96. Our other losers are varied between minor hits and big hits from last year once again, with first of all Shakira, BZRP Music Sessions Volume 53 by Bizarrap and Shakira losing 5 spots off the top 10 debut to number 14, Bad Habit by Steve Lacy losing 5 spots down to number 17, Bebe Dame by Fuerza Regida and Grupo Frontera losing 8 spots to number 33, Wait For You by Future featuring Drake and Thames losing 7 spots to number 34, Super Freaky Girl by Nicki Minaj losing 7 spots to number 36, and Tomorrow 2 by Glorilla and Cardi B losing 7 spots to number 37. Outside of that, Shut Up My Mom's Calling by Hotel Ugly loses 7 spots down to number 75, Star Walkin' by Lil Nas X loses 12 spots to number 77, Ditto by New Jeans loses 7 spots to number 92, and finally Niagara Falls Fou or 2 by Metro Boomin, 21 Savage and Travis Scott loses 10 spots to number 100. On to our gainers, as once again for another week we don't have any projected re-entries, but you never know, something might sneak through in the final charts. The biggest projected gainer this week is Nonsense by Sabrina Carpenter, up 20 spots to number 55 as it surged on streaming, although I don't think this is going to last, as at the beginning of this tracking week the song started to dip hard in comparison. Both Hardy and Morgan Wallen have seen gains following the release of Hardy's album, with for the former Wait in the Truck featuring Lainey Wilson gaining 14 spots to number 23, and for the latter One Thing at a Time gaining 13 spots to number 69, and Thought You Should Know gaining 6 spots to number 25. But apart from those gains, our other gainers don't really have much connection to each other. First of all, You Didn't by Brett Young gains 9 spots to number 90, That's What Tequila Does by Jason Aldean gains 5 spots to number 87, Human by Cody Johnson gains 9 spots to number 85, Heart to Heart by Mac DeMarco gains 17 spots to number 81, OMG by New Jeans gains 12 spots to number 79, Love You Better by Future is up 7 spots to number 72, Too Many Nights by Metro Boomin, Future and Don Toliver is up 7 spots to number 70. This just seems like a position gain. The song didn't actually gain points this week, so unlikely anything is happening here. La Bachata by Manuel Turizo is up 5 spots to number 67, Freestyle by Lil Baby is up 6 spots to number 63, The Color Violet by Tory Lanez is up 9 spots to number 62, Wild as Her by Corey Kent is up 9 spots to number 61. This may chart for several months still, the radio is still very far from peaking. Here With Me by David is up 7 spots to number 59, Forget Me by Louis Capaldi is up 5 spots to number 58, at number 54 and getting 6 spots, What He Didn't Do by Carly Pearce, which has sneakily been gaining on the charts. Players by Cola Ray is up 5 spots to number 49, Whiskey on You by Nate Smith is up 5 spots to number 46, same thing with Wild as Her for this one. Calm Down by Rema and Selena Gomez is up 7 spots to number 28. Just Wanna Rock by Lil Uzi Vert gaining 5 spots to number 11, could very easily contend for top 10 next week as it is gaining more points per week than Golden Hour is. And with that, we can go on to our debuts, where we actually have 3 debuts from one single album projected to make the chart this week. So we're going to start off from lowest to highest with Crazy Train by Trippie Redd featuring Travis Scott at number 88, Fully Loaded by Trippie Redd featuring Lil Baby and Future at number 83, and Nightcrawler by Trippie Redd featuring Juice WRLD at number 51. All 3 of those songs are primarily here thanks to streaming, so it is unlikely that they last for long. Apart from these 3 debuts, at number 99 we have Out the Way by Yeat. This one has been a long time coming for its debut, it's just been stable and slightly gaining on streaming week after week, but it has literally nothing else, so don't expect this to become a big hit. At number 98 we have Spit in My Face by Thanks So Much, in almost the exact same situation as Out the Way, unlikely to become a really big hit unless it grows anything apart from streaming. Our projected debut from last week, Backend by Finesse 2 Times, is once again projected to debut as it missed last week at number 97. Same thing as last week for this song, mediocre streaming and carried by radio, again, unlikely to become a big hit but might last a few weeks on the chart. At number 91 we have AMG by Gabito Ballesteros, Peso Pluma and Nathaniel Cano. Surprisingly, this one is in the same case as our first 2 debuts, primarily carried by streaming, although this one is seeing a much bigger increase than those 2. If it gets anything on Latin airplay, this might become a low-key hit. At number 89, Next Thing You Know by Jordan Davis. Once again, long time coming debut for this song, but you might be surprised to find out that it actually is carried by streaming instead of radio, which is really surprising coming from this artist. As right now, What My World Spins Around seems to be getting removed off of country radio, this is likely to become the next single, so expect this to gain radio. If it keeps on getting good streaming ratios like this, it might even become a big hit. At number 82, we have Moonlight Sunrise by Twice. The highest debut so far for Twice and also a pretty good streaming to sales ratio. Now, it is unlikely to become anything big, but it is surprising to see Twice break out higher and higher each English release. At number 80, Gangsta Boo by Ice Spice and Lil TJ. This becomes the very first chart entry for Ice Spice ever. This one is primarily here on streaming, but you might be surprised to find out that there was a sales push at the end of the tracking week for this song. It'll be tough to tell if this song is going to stick around on streaming or not, so let's see what happens. At number 78, I Wish You Roses by Kali Uchis, primarily here thanks to streaming and off the debut week. Once again, pretty tough trajectory to tell, so let's just see what happens with this song. At number 71, 1035 by Tiësto featuring Tate McRae. This one has been stuck in bubbling under for several months now and only broke out this high thanks to a streaming surge. Radio seems to be a bit slower to get on board with this one, but if it somehow manages to kick into gear, it might become a hit similar to what the motto was last year, although not as high globally. At number 60 of the album, Red by Hardy featuring Morgan Wallen. Good streaming, decent sales, unlikely to become anything as currently Hardy is still running Wait in the Truck at radio. In a few months, however, it isn't unlikely that the song becomes big. And that is it for this week. Thank you for watching. I tried to be a bit more concise and a bit more swift in my delivery in this episode, so tell me what you think about that. Once again, if you have any suggestions my way, then make sure to send me a comment. It'd be very appreciated, and I will try to apply it if I can in later episodes. That is all. Thank you very much once again for watching, and hopefully you have a good rest of the week.